Do you have some sort of businesswoman special?
Come again?
Well, we're businesswomen.
Yeah, from LA.
And you know, some places have like a lunch special
For businesswomen.
We don't have anything like that.
Well, then why don't you just give us 2 burgers and fries and Diet Cokes, because we're in a hurry.
Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. It made me laugh. I am such a fan that I'm going to do my best not to Gurman. I had a chance to talk with Mira off the air for a little bit, and just her dad I just loved. Iconic family in acting. This woman, though, it's so much more than that. And we're going to talk about FanExpo and the lineup that's coming to Rosemont. And I'm going to tell Mira how to get in touch with the mayor of Rosemont out there so she can have all the good parking and know which good restaurants to go to and all of that.
I'm pretty sure she's going to get good parking.
Aside from the film stuff, aside from all of the big movies, the thing that, and this is what I love about strong women, like you, Jane, you empower other women, you support each other. She's been a leading voice in the Me Too movement, things that matter. We know what Hollywood is. We know what it's about. And she's been at the forefront. So without further ado, Mira, welcome to WLSAM 890. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Mira. Welcome to Chicago.
Thank you very much.
We want to talk about, FanExpo, and I know that there's certain things that we can and can't talk about and do because of the strike, the acting strike, the writers' strike, but it certainly looks to me like FanExpo in Rosemont this weekend is chock full of stars, and you're going to be there.
I am really excited because this is my first, fan convention ever. I've been to film festivals before, I did Comic-Con before, but I've never, promoting a series, but I've never done the meet and greet with the fans. And I think that, post-pandemic, I'm so excited to go out and have, real FaceTime with all of my wonderful fans because I have such great fans and I'm really excited to meet them.
I'm excited for you. I'm curious, do you have any, this is the first time you're going to have a line, out the door, down the hallway, around the block, but all those people that you get to meet, I'm thinking a little hand sanitizer on the side, maybe. And a very special pen.
Yeah. Lots of vitamins beforehand.
Yeah.
It's funny, Jane, you bring that up. And Billy Ray Cyrus, back in the day when he was, riding the wave before it was all about Miley Cyrus, he would go to his meet and greets or his fan conventions, much like the one you're going to be at Mira, and he would wear these gauntlet gloves.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And he would, so he would never have to touch any. So maybe, Mary, you get yourself, because you don't want to wear the plastic surgeon gloves.
No, that's weird.
Yeah.
And I also, if you just don't touch your face. That's all there is to it. Shake all the hands you want, Mira. We want you to stay healthy, but everybody wants to be there and they want to meet you. And that's happening this weekend at the FanExpo, which is super exciting. I'm excited for you. And I want to talk more about the FanExpo, but I also want to talk to you a little bit about your work with as a Goodwill ambassador for the United Nations, and also you've been really involved in Amnesty International. And we know there are so many shocking statistics when it comes to human trafficking, and you're just an advocate for human rights. All of these years of experience you've had with these groups, what do you hope that the public takes away, in regards to global change for the things that you're working on?
Okay, so I've been working on human trafficking for 19 years, first with Amnesty International as their Stop Violence Against Women campaign spokesperson, and under that umbrella came the topic of modern slavery, which around 70% of its victims are women and girls. And then in 2009, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime asked me to become their Goodwill ambassador on the same subject, and I've been working with them ever since, and I've traveled around the world, and I've made several features and documentaries about the theme, and I can't talk about.
Yeah, I got you. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, right now, because it's something I can't talk about, there is this groundswell of public interest and I'd say empathy for the victims of human trafficking that I have not seen before. And it gives me hope that we could move the needle, because in all the time that I've been working on it, although some systemic, institutions have been put in place to try and deal with the problem, and there's more aftercare and there is more awareness, the crime is still growing, and there's over 30 million people in the world who are in bondage in both sex and labor trafficking, and 2 million of those are children who are sold for sex trafficking. So I feel like this is this moment in time that if everybody got involved, if everybody found their local organization or their international one that they wanted to give their support to, or their time or their money or their skills as a translator, or they're a lawyer so they can donate some free legal time, or they can walk with a survivor to a medical appointment, or they can lobby their government. See, the thing is that we always need stronger laws, and we need the public will to convince the politicians that it's worth changing, and then it's worth really implementing. So, for instance, survivors in America who have exited the sex trafficking situation, which some call the life, either by, mostly by their own courage. In the U.S., it's not somebody who sweeps in and rescues them. It's usually, if they're adults, it's usually by their own ability to escape the psychological and physical bonds imposed upon them by their trafficker. So with children, it's more, the failure of Child Protective Services to notice a situation, which could be a trafficking situation, or school employees, because those are the places where the medical industry, when somebody surfaces and goes to an emergency room with multiple broken bones or, repeat broken bones, that's the moment for that well-trained person, if they were well-trained, if training was widespread and consistent, to say, this looks like a trafficking situation. Let me get this person or this kid alone and let me talk to them and see if I can ferret them to safety, to services, and ultimately, hopefully, to law enforcement. But that shouldn't be the priority. Shouldn't be like, oh, let's prosecute this. The priority should be the human being. A lot of misconceptions surround the idea of child trafficking, and that people tend to think that it's mostly like a white van that kidnaps somebody off their front porch and traffics them. And although that does happen, the abduction by a stranger does happen, more often than not in this country, it's not stranger danger, it's people that you know. And 53% of the clients of this place called Courtney's House in Washington, D.C., which is a survivor-led service organization that works with youth, 53% of their clients were trafficked by their own families. And other people, it's like a social thing. Kids are recruited into life. The average age of recruitment is between 9 and 11.
Wow.
And gangs are really picking this up, and they're very, systematic and organized about this, and they have younger kids doing the pimping so they won't catch the harder penalties that you would if you were over 18, even though really kind of nowhere in the nation do people catch the same penalties that they should for something like arson or murder. And we have to do a better job of balancing, getting rid of the impunity, but also having a real trauma, human rights approach to the way we treat the victims, and doing something like creating vacature, or different states call different things, vacature or expungement for whatever crimes the trafficking victim has perhaps on their past record as a result of their exploitation, even violent or severe crimes, because basically, even if you don't see the gun to their heads, people who are trafficking victims live basically with a 24/7 threat to their own lives and their families' lives.
Mira Sorvino is our guest here on WLS. And Mira, it's funny because there's a lot of times when Hollywood speaks, and I don't want to hear necessarily somebody's opinion because everybody's got something that but this it's made such a difference. And I know, and we'll explain what you're talking about when you say something you can't talk about. It all has to do with the SAG-AFTRA strike, and I hope people understand that. But what you've done is you've effect changed. On Tuesday, Jane and I were talking about a new law in Illinois that has been passed where if somebody's been trafficked and they commit a crime or, God forbid, kill their captor to get out of their situation they're in, that now in the state of Illinois there's wiggle room given to that because of the situation they were put in. So the work that you're doing, I'm sure, trickles down into that. Here,
absolutely.
let me just tell everybody again so they know this very beautiful actress with a wonderful father, Paul Sorvino. My God, I loved your dad. is going to be at the FanExpo.
And I love you, Mira.
He's going to be at the FanExpo, and that is coming up the 10th through the 13th in Rosemont. Mira, we have to let you go, but we're going to make sure that we put all of this stuff out on our social media, and you know, for a business that you're in, and I know it's had its ups and downs, and I know you have stories to tell. You know, you've done it, you've bounced back, you've hung in there, and this new thing you've done and you're doing is affecting change.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's moved my heart to see the way people have engaged with the victims of human trafficking, especially child victims of human trafficking. And the biggest thing I can also say is stop buying commercial sex. If men stop buying commercial sex, we will get rid of the victims, because the terminus of sex trafficking is commercial sex. So if you stop the demands, you will stop the victimization. And I know that might be a bitter pill to swallow for some people who think, hey, I want my cake and eat it too. You're contributing to an organization, like a system that creates victimhood.
Yeah, we don't. Most normal people don't pay for sex. We know it's out there, and but it happens, and it happens more than we'd like to admit, because we all live in our safe space,
and it happens more than we may even know about or comprehend. But Mira, you are doing great work, and we really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful time at the FanExpo in Rosemont, and a great time in Chicago. I hope you get to go to those Rosemont outlets and get a couple of gifts for those kids.
Oh boy, be careful. I'm a dangerous shopper.
Good to talk
to you. That's a good store there.
Mira Sorvino on WLS AM 890. Man, she talks about important stuff.